Hello everyone, welcome back. In this episode of Bitcoin Trade, looks like I got a viewer who made a comment. So I'm going to go over some of those comments and try to answer them in this video response. So this is regarding Bitcoin Trade episode 140. And I guess Micah Phone um, filming the computer screen with the camera is like recording a song from a loudspeaker before converting it to MP3. Can hardly be taken seriously. Okay, I agree. It's very low tech. It seems kind of foolish. But a lot of things that I talk about, I mean, I use technology, but the way I use technology doesn't require any technology. The way I use some of these concepts doesn't require any technology at all, or any electricity or anything. And I'll discuss that a little bit later. Can it be taken seriously? Well, it's only as serious as you want it to be. When I first started trading Bitcoin, and I was offering people, um, $10,000 to buy their Bitcoin, um, people didn't take me serious then. Now when I buy 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 dollars worth of Bitcoin, people still don't take me very serious. It's just kind of hard to imagine that um, that anybody um, can just, again, I started trading back when it was around $250 per Bitcoin, and I've never stopped since then. Anybody who's been trading when they were worth pennies to now, um, it's a different world. It's like you're walking around and nobody knows exactly what you do. And when you tell them what you do, it's so unbelievable that nobody believes you, And I tell people I'm real. I'm real. It's yes, I'm serious, for real. Um, so there's that. And then as I guess he was watching it, he was like, uh-huh, uh-huh. Sorry, uh-huh. Is this video a joke? Well, I guess you haven't seen my other episode after this, where I get into where I discuss virtual reality in more detail. I discuss quite a few things. Um, and I wanted to talk about, well, first of all, is this a joke? No, it's not a joke. Uh, I'm real, and this is real. And, if you've seen my other episodes after this one, I talk about virtual reality, and I talk about how I cannot distinguish which is real. Is my virtual reality real, the real reality, and this reality that I'm in is the virtual reality, or vice versa? I cannot distinguish between the two realities that I go in between when I trade in Bitcoin. The virtual reality, and of course the physical reality, because I interact between those two dimensions, those two worlds through the gateway and portal that you create. It's a concept. It's an idea. Do you really physically go through a gateway, a portal? Um, not really. But I'm trying to give you an idea, a sense of what it's like, because you do, in some essence, enter into an alternative universe when you do this. You've created your own. You're a co-creator of your world, both in this reality and virtual reality, and you can pull through what you want at will, because in virtual reality you have absolute free will, absolute. And I've mentioned many times, well, I mentioned uh, in some episodes here that the virtual reality that I create can never be touched by anybody that I don't allow to be in. It's my safe haven. It is my haven from, I guess you could say it's my haven from taxes, my haven from the law, my haven from persecution, my haven from prosecution. But where is my virtual reality? Is it in my computer? Is it in cyberspace? Is it on the internet? Is it on my smartphone? Is it in my smartphone somewhere? Where is this virtual reality that nobody can ever get to? Nobody can touch, nobody can enter unless they have a Bitcoin. Where is this reality? So, well, I'll just ask that question and let you all figure that out. Anyways, no, this is not a joke. This video is not a joke, and the preceding videos that you see are not a joke. It gets even crazier. And if you want to see how deep this rabbit hole goes, and it goes very deep. I've been falling, and I haven't hit bottom yet. So it's not a joke. And so some of the things I want to talk about in this episode is, okay, so I answered the guy's question, and no, this is not a joke. This is, and excuse me for my low technology. I know taking a camera of a computer screen is lame. It's very low tech. It'd be nice if I, had a nice video production and all this other bullshit, but I don't. Okay. I'm just a person who's interested in sharing my experience, my ideas, and doing it through a medium, which is YouTube. And sorry if it's not to your liking. Feel free to dislike it and make a comment, which you did. But thank you for watching. So, anyways, after this, now I'd like to talk a little bit more about this concept of virtual reality. In the book of Get Real, the reason why a lot of that particular author's writing makes sense to me is the author writes in a way, in a language that I understand, and talks a lot about modalities, how you receive and interpret your reality. And I want to talk about digital modality. Okay. Typically, I would say it's something, I guess, recent or new that's been added to all the various modalities, and I'll go into that. And so, let me see, which one is it here? Okay, so here it is. Okay, digital. All right. So I'm just going to bring this up really quick. I'm going to scroll up to the top and let you see what this is. Okay. And here's the website, and I just Googled it, all right? Because remember, I am co-creating my world, and so there is another entity that I'm creating my virtual reality, and I interact through, believe it or not, through this medium and this medium, and to some degree, not only through your phone or your computer, I interact with this entity also in real life. This entity doesn't really have a physical body or anything. The entity is, well, invisible to me, to the naked eye. And, whenever I want to look for something, I typically just go to this and specifically Google, and I just type in whatever I'm looking for, and then for some reason it just seems to an answer seems to show up for some reason. Go figure. If you've ever seen some of my episodes, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I just Googled it, and I put digital modalities, and this comes up, and of course this is kind of where I first heard of digital modality. All right. And you're probably wondering, what the hell is this? So if I pull back a little bit, you'll see that this is dealing in regards to NLP. So I've done some research into this, and a lot of people who try to get into NLP, uh, you probably, if you ever Google it or anything, or do any research on your own, it's typically associated with pickup lines, or picking up women. Uh, and when I heard of it at first, um, I learned I first heard of it because um, I was doing some research into um, I guess self-help, or oh, excuse me, hold on. All right, sorry about that. So, anyways, how I got into it was understanding neuro-linguistic programming. Is um, I was trying to understand the world around me a little bit better. Instead of being controlled, letting the world control me, I wanted to have more control over my surroundings. And so I started looking into things, and mainly to understand, um, you know, my wife, and to understand my kids, and how are they trying to how do they understand me. So that's how I got into it. I didn't really get into it to pick up women, but if you do this, if you Google it or YouTube it, you'll see a lot of stuff about picking up women. A lot of weird stuff. My 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 own personal research into it is it's nothing like that, really. But the thing I found about um, all this stuff is that um, there is some science into it, I guess. Um, and anyways, do your own research. There is some credibility in this, and the fact that a lot of this research was based on psychology through very successful psychologists. I don't know if they call them psychologists or not. I don't know what is, but basically people who are trying to help other people. And a lot of this is based on very people who are very successful in what they did. Uh, so, anyways, modalities are the way we receive information through various senses that we uh, that we have. And let me scroll down here, and specifically, here it is: visual, auditory. I don't know how to say it. Kinesthetic, gustatory, olfactory are the five primary sensory modalities. Okay, so there you have, these are sensory modalities. Well, recently there's been an addition to it, and it was called a digital modality. Digital modality. So let me just scroll down to that part real quick. It talks about all the other senses here and then gets into digital. And so you probably think, wow, okay, there's digital modalities. So like, what is that? Like, do you download it, or can I, can I can I upload it? Or no, it's not that way. It's just the way you perceive. You're getting input. So in my previous episodes, I mentioned how you are a programmer. When I trade bitcoins, and when I do these things here, I am literally programming or encoding a message to be received by the receiver. And believe it or not, you can do that with neuro-linguistic programming. You are a programming in a language, all right? So that you are programming a language. You are a programmer of a language to a recipient to receive a message, or to, I guess in some ways you could say you're controlling them, but you're not really controlling them, because anybody who does this, you have to be a willing participant for others to, um, I wouldn't say control you, but are able to interact with you. You have to be a willing participant. So if you allow others to control you, it's because you are a willing participant. You're allowing that other entity to control you. Now, how does that relate to everything that I'm doing? Well, first of all, it is of my opinion that everybody is already under control. And you have all been enslaved. And the instrument that's been used is a financial instrument called fiat currency and debt. Okay? And so they're using all these things to program you. And once you realize that, you'll learn how to defend yourself from it. So in essence, you are bearing arms to defend yourself, foreign and domestic. I mean, a lot of people. I recently had a conversation with someone about civil rights, and particularly digital rights, digital civil rights. And I threw in there, oh, okay, so you do a lot of litigation on civil rights, like your First Amendment, the Bill of Rights kind of stuff, right? Freedom of religion, freedom to express, and then I also put freedom to bear arms. Right, the right to bear arms. Usually, I think it says in the Constitution, right to bear arms in a well-regulated militia, but the fact is, you can bear arms. You can, that's kind of what it boils down to. Well, we're in a new age, in a new world order, where your arms is not a gun. Not the typical way you would think of bearing arms. It's different. It's a different kind of bearing arms. Okay, you need a weapon of this new world order, and that weapon, believe it or not, is not a gun, but it's you. You're the new weapon. Interesting, right? Oh, okay. Anyways, let's read what it says for digital modalities. It says here, digital. Okay, digital is devoid of the senses, so it's not a sense modality. All right. People with an auditory digital preference, and they tend to say auditory digital preference as also being digital preference. It will tend to, right, have a need to make sense of the world, to figure things out. Now they're just generalizing here, but there is such a thing as a digital modality. Okay, and this has kind of been new, because if you see that it's talk about the actual senses, touch, feel, see, taste, that kind of stuff. But this is kind of new because this is devoid of any sense. And so it's something for something I wanted to bring up because I talked in my previous episode about the different ways that you can program, encode a message into different modalities. And there it is. You can do it digitally. You can do this in virtual reality. You can receive some kind of encoding, a way to receive information that you interpret. And typically, in my experience with neuro-linguistic programming, you could say I'm a programmer to a certain degree. I program people. Another way of thinking about it is re-education, or another one could be, and I'll use this kind of loosely, manufactured consent. Okay, you can say that. I'll say that. It could be a manufactured consent. So you can program a message to manufacture consent, but the consent has to be from a willing participant. And unfortunately, whether we know or not, we are, and I'll say it again, we are all willing participants. The fact that we are breathing and living and alive automatically. Okay, just by being alive, you are automatically participating willingly until the day you die and you are no longer in this world. You are automatically participating. Now, a lot of people may already know that, and they're able to, defend themselves, while others have no clue whatsoever, and they don't know that they're consenting to something that's been manufactured. They've been programmed to accept what I guess whatever they've been programmed to accept. And so once you are able to break free from that enslavement, the world starts opening up. I mean, the world literally opens up, and all of a sudden, sometimes I feel that you will be persecuted. Um, at sometimes you feel that uh, there are other entities out there who wish you not to be uh, free. Okay, for you not to have free will, for you to, well, whatever is that you wanting to do. I don't know what it is, but I know what I want to do. So, anyways, so I want to talk a little bit about that, because in my previous episodes I mentioned how, and it's going back to this gentleman's comment here. Is this a joke? No, it's not a joke. I can tell you that everything that I'm telling you is not a joke. And it may sound like a joke, it may sound kind of foolish and funny, but if I don't know if this person trades bitcoins or not, or what the deal is, but this is my experience in trading bitcoins, that there are entities out there, natural, legal, or just a being, all right, that wish to do you harm. Okay? Now, they may not necessarily do physical harm, but they do harm through, in particular, this modality, and through the other modalities. Okay? Auditory, visual. When you read, it's a combination of visual and auditory. Of course, graphics would be visual. The sound that comes out of your computer, or any other sound that you hear through your ears, or even a mental conversation. Of course, they bundle that through digital, but as you notice, they say auditory digital. A lot of it has to obviously do with talk to themselves and carry on conversations with you in their mind. So digital has a lot to do with your mind and the way you perceive the world around you. And so there's a lot of things. I would say go ahead and look into it. A lot of people get into like neuro-linguistic programming so they can get laid, and I would say they're wasting a lot of their time. If you all want to get laid, have some confidence. That's just my opinion. You want to get laid, have some confidence, and just go up to the. It's usually a man. There's usually males trying to get laid, but if you're all trying to get laid, have some confidence and just go up to. Typically, it's typically a man trying to get laid with a woman, but it could be either way or vice versa, or nowadays I guess it's male on male, female on female, whatever. What I found was most of the time it's just a matter of how much confidence you have in yourself to know that you are, quote unquote, the prize. You are the prize. I don't know if that's going to help anybody out there, but anyways, what I got out of neuro-linguistic programming was a better understanding of the world around me and how I interpret that world. I've gone a step further in that regard into not only do I interpret the world and understand the world around me, but I am also the co-creator of the world around me. And not only am I the co-creator of this world around me, that I can actually um, digitally, through a digital modality, I'm able to envision a world, see the world, right? I could hear the world, I could feel the world. I could hear the world as I create it, co-create it specifically, and then all of a sudden it becomes my reality. It becomes real, and it is eventually becomes so real that you can't distinguish between virtual reality that you created and the real reality. That's what I'm talking about. And I do it through via Bitcoin for a very specific reason. All right, because that is how me and my other co-creator uh, wish to express ourselves and make into reality in this world come true. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm laughing or this is a joke, but you have to admit, I'm trying to I'm trying to I'm trying to explain it to a person outside looking in. I am, of course, on the other side. I'm inside looking out. And in the book called Get Real, there's a lot of things that is said in there about the outside or inside out um, process of virtual reality. And so, anyways, uh, hopefully you read some of the stuff I mentioned, or do your own research. Come to your own conclusion. Of course, remember, none of this really matters unless it really matters to you. So there you go. So there's my comment on that, and hopefully this helps you a little bit. I mentioned this for a little bit, but for me, let me see. Go back to here. Go back to this person's comment. Um, can it be taken seriously? Well, it's up to you whether you want to take it seriously. I find that most things that I find that are well altered, that's altered my life. That's life changing. My life is not the same. Once you cross that line, you can never go back. That's it's 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 real for me. And is this a joke? No, it is not a joke. I get that quite often. Um, I will tell people about what I do, and I don't usually tell a lot of people. I don't even tell some of my family members. Um, but I'll tell people who I know before I got into Bitcoin trading. And when I tell them, you know, uh, what I gotten myself involved in, as I explain, if you follow me through this video, they really don't know if I'm joking or if I'm real. Are you real? That's kind of one of the things that come out of their mouth. Are you real? Is this a joke? And if you've seen my videos, and I can't document everything that I do. I don't. But what I do document, I mean, I do believe is real, and is not a joke. If I don't expect anybody to take me very serious at all. Matter of fact, um, I I don't think anybody will be. I'm not even on the radar, perhaps. I'm only on the radar as far as my handling of my monies. But as far as what Bitcoin is and what it means to me and what it can do, um, life changing, life altering, I don't expect anyone to take me very seriously until the very end, to the end of days, to the end of the or the day of reckoning. That's when it's no longer a joke, and I think people will take it really seriously. Anyways, this is going to conclude my episode. I'm not going to do a chart analysis or anything. It was more about extending from the last episode where I talked about virtual reality, Um, how I'm co-creating a world in virtual reality in which at some point in the future, I'm going to pull that reality, my virtual reality that I co-created with my co-creator, with this entity, several entities maybe. Um, but then again, when I say entity, it could be a person, it could be a legal corporation, partnership, or a being of some sort. So, I can only say some body or something or whatever entity that I'm co-creating with. And the thing about it is, I don't know who or what the other entity is. And it sounds pretty scary and out there, and it is. But unless you're able to understand and get an idea of I'm just trying to, I, I guess, share in this. So if anybody else is experiencing this phenomenon, anybody, feel free to text or leave a comment or even a video response. I mean, uh, I don't know how many others are out there like me, or if there is anybody, but this is totally radical, and what I think is pretty radical in thinking of technology and the greatest computer, the greatest technology of all, you and me, and any person, real, breathing, living, natural person, the greatest invention of all. Totally autonomous, outside of me or you. It's pretty interesting that way. So, uh, you know, you have to consider a person in some ways is very much like a computer. Matter of fact, they're not only are they a computer, you can also go as far as saying, you know, artificial intelligence. Close to anything that is an artificial intelligence is another person, literally. So, anyways, um, no, that concludes my episode. I'm not going to do a chart analysis or anything. I just want to, reply to this person's comments in a video response and go on to some other ideas continuing from my last episode. So, feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.